Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today. My name is Mel Rose, and I'm here to share your daily aspects. Today is Thursday, March 10, 2022. The light of the sun reveals all, and in Pisces, our sense of who we are in the world embraces a playful, creative vibration. Jupiter and Neptune have been hanging out here right at home in Pisces, representing an expanding sense of self and an expanding sense of inspiration and connection. Now, Mercury re-enters the spotlight, bearing witness to this expansion and influenced itself to have bigger thoughts, make bigger plans, and to have a more creative approach to communication. The first quarter moon in Gemini this morning makes ingress to Cancer this afternoon, representing a shift in personal life energies from air to water, sort of out of the head and into the emotions. We are encouraged at this time to take action on our goals and to bring nurture to our own hearts and our homes. And I'm going to go ahead and get right into the aspects. I want to let you all know that there's a legend on the side. Most of the symbols on the page are on the legend, so if you need a word to go with a symbol, look over here. Otherwise, I'm going to discuss all of the symbols as we go along. And I've divided the page into two columns, one for each of our luminaries. The moon represents our inner life. It sheds light on our inner life. That has to do with our relationship with ourselves, who we are, how it feels to be in our body, our heart, and our mind, those things we think, feel, know, and intuit, but that might not ever necessarily get expressed. And also who we are in our home life, sort of our private realm, the people that are there with us. The sun, on the other hand, represents the outer life. This is more about who we are in relationship to the rest of the world when we go to work, when we're out in the social or the civic spaces. How do we interact with the people out there? That's who we are in the outer life. And I address the sun's aspects and the rest of the planet's aspects on this side because they have a lot more to do with how we interact with the rest of the world. And they tend to be longer than these lunar aspects, which are more personal and about our feelings and our intuitions. And we start with the sun today on the sun side of the page. In the ongoing column, I have a couple of guys we've talked about here before. Jupiter sextile Uranus is Jupiter is right here in Pisces, like right at home, and it's really representing expanded creativity, expanded inspiration, information, now expanded information, thoughts and ideas. And it's really good fortune. It's about how we grow our sense of who we can be and what we can have in the world. And Jupiter's here with Uranus, which is our planet that shakes things up and brings about opportunities, opens doors for us to make a change or, a shift in the direction that we'd like to see our lives going. Sextile energy here says expanded opportunities with positive change, working well together, very cooperative, likely to create something, generate something good. And I made this note about the joy of giving and receiving. I heard once somewhere, and it seems to make sense to me, you have to give what you'd like to be receiving. I think that's something that's really natural for people, especially on the emotional side of things, but not necessarily do we all remember to do it on the outer life side of things. You've got to give what you want to get, and that's in terms of friendliness with other people. It's in terms of goods and services. It's in terms of just conversation. If you want information, you kind of have to share about yourself, right? So understand that there is joy in receiving, of course. And when we think about Jupiter and positive good fortune, we think a lot about receiving. I'm waiting for them. I'm still waiting for them to pull that truckload of money up in front of my house and see what happens. But the idea is also to get some joy out of giving. So especially when we get into that mode of the phase where it's time to let things go, it's a good idea just to think about what you're going to give. And in addition to that, understanding that you get what you give. So definitely you need to give what you want to get. And then also we have Venus conjunct Mars. These are both through spring equinox, which is the 20th of March this year, coming up in just 10 days. Guys, I'm so excited. I love the springtime. Venus conjunct Mars is, this is the divine couple, so to speak, okay? And Venus is about our receptiveness, knowing what we want, creating space for us to hold the things we desire, and then also being able to attract them. How do we attract good things into our lives? How do we pull the good stuff toward us, right? And then Mars is really more about asserting. It's Venus receives, Mars asserts. It moves forward. It wants to take action. It wants to do work. It wants to show progress. And so in this conjunct energy, these vibrations are both very amplified, and that is within ourselves. Okay, we all have Venus and Mars in our chart. Go check it out in your own chart and see what that might say about where your drives are and where you're more receptive. But Venus conjunct Mars, this really just says we do know what we want, and we absolutely know how to get it if it isn't already coming our way. Okay, so this is a great time. This is a great time for manifesting. They're in Aquarius right now. So especially if you're going to manifest in collaboration with a group like your friends, your family, or your community, your neighborhood, this is a great time to be doing that. We have a fine sense of what we want, like there's this abundant sort of what do I want to say, vessel, receptacle for all of the creative and inspired flow to go in. And so, it's a good time to be pursuing that. Peaceful vibes after all the work which is not yet done. So right now, we did just make this shift out of earthen mode Capricorn for these two into Aquarius. It does have a lighter feeling. It feels like everybody's a little more independent, even within the context of their relationships. And when I say relationships, I'm talking about your partnerships in your love life and in your work life and in your family life. Those people that you work closely with or are just close to, those are your partners in life. And this is about partnership. So your partnership with yourself and your partnerships with other people are probably functioning pretty well. People are moving a little more independently. You might both be kind of attracted to more unconventional things that we haven't been doing before or lately. And that's okay. It's kind of nice to take a break and just to sit back and think about it and make some plans and do some management. But the work is not yet done. So don't forget that we're still going to have to do the work to change our circumstances. We have partnership goals with these people, and we want to keep on track with those partnership goals. We've still got to be able to do the work. And like I said, we're in that first quarter to full moon phase now. So that wax and gibbous is about doing the work, right? So that's the ongoing column. Today on the sun side of the page, we have at 4:45 in the morning, the sun goes square to the moon. So this is really an indicator of this first quarter moon. We're halfway at this point from the new moon to the full moon. And so this is a point of transition from sort of intending, making plans, thinking about what we desire, and now we're transitioning into actually going after what we desire, making the the actual concrete work happen so that we can hopefully perhaps have a culmination or some partial culmination on next Friday when we have that full moon in Virgo. And I drew this, and I drew this little flower here because I made a mistake. This is about outer and inner life. Symbolically, there might be some challenges. The outer self, the part that interfaces with the rest of the world, and the inner self, they might not be very much on the same page right now. It might be, we might find it more difficult to express ourselves, or we might just be experiencing some sort of what should I say? We might be experiencing some confusion or just some ill at ease with ourselves. Then on the moon side of the page at 4:48 in the morning, the moon makes a trine with Saturn. So this is ideal for building, organizing, creating structure. I know it's early in the morning. For me, it's a little later for other people. Moon trine Saturn, like Moon and Saturn, that's where you feel and you think in your heart and your home about the structures that support you, the networks that you rely on for foundation. You're feeling some way about them. And this trine aspect says, very positive, ideal functioning, synchronistic, things are going well. Between me on the inside, my personal sense of self, and my ability to create structure, my ability to organize, my ability to build things that are sound. Okay, so that's a great time to be focusing on anything structure wise that you are trying to create. And since it has to do with the heart and home, don't forget that does include reinforcing the foundations with your family members and your friends. So it can be a good time to reach out to somebody that is like, one of your rock solids, right? And then at 10:42, a void, of course, moon, makes a square with Neptune. So when the moon is in aspect with Neptune, we're very sensitive, okay? We're practically psychic, and it's sensitive in a way where we kind of feel, understand, know the thoughts and feelings of the people around us. And maybe we don't know, but we definitely feel the energies of other people around us, okay? And when that square energy comes in, it says, there might be a challenge involved here. Okay, so one of the challenges I've noticed that comes up for Moon square Neptune with me is that I don't always believe what I'm hearing, or like some doubt comes into my mind. I'm just not sure that the entire world is being honest with me. So you know what? It's okay. It's a 2-hour thing. If somebody says something that you find unbelievable or just don't want to believe, maybe you can just leave it for a couple of hours, come back to it when you have another energy about you, right? And then this void, of course, here is a period of time from, actually, it's here too, from 10:42 a.m. to 1:24 the next morning. More than 12 hours, okay? This is a time when we can take advantage of this sort of psychic boost that we got here, and we can turn within. We can use our intuitive practices to have conversations with ourselves, or our confidants, our trusted loved ones, about our experience. This is a good time for turning within and having those conversations with yourself, that are about your partnership and your foundations and the things that you desire and what you want to give and what you want to receive and who you want to be in your community. Like, these are the themes we're dealing with right now. So there you have a good 12 hours to deal with that. The moon makes an apogee in the middle there. It's at 5:13. Moon reaches apogee once a month, and it's farthest point from the Earth in its elliptical orbit around the Earth. So what they would say, the moon moves the tides, and it has to do with how close it is and where it is in relationship to the Earth, how the water on the planet is pulled. So it does have a gravitational effect on our bodies, and our bodies contain our hearts and minds. Yay! So, our bodies hold our hearts and minds. They ground them to the earth. So, when the moon is in its apogee, we feel less attached to it than usual. The further away it is, the less of its gravity we feel. The less pulled around on the inside we feel. Okay, so it might be nice to have that sort of detached, less feeling, less emotional sort of way about us as we're struggling with, perhaps a little bit of doubt or challenge in our relationship with the rest of the world and our relationship with spirit, but also as we go through this void of course period where we have a whole bunch of time that we can journal or tarot or throw our runes or write or maybe you make a video blog or whatever it is that you do to express yourself, especially to yourself, so that you can have important inward looking conversations with yourself. And then when the moon goes into Cancer tomorrow morning early at 1:24, this is the shift into Cancer. Moon and Cancer are the same thing. Okay, the moon is the planet that rules the sign of Cancer. So it's really like a doubling down effect. It's like an intensification of those heart and home vibes. And we're more in our emotions, and we're more seeking and giving of nurture, and we're more interested in healing. It's a water sign. It's a very watery element. Water is such a watery element. But what that means is, use water in your healing. Okay, make yourself a nurturing meal. Take a nice hot bath or shower if you want to. Do something nice for yourself, and make sure you are well hydrated while you do it. Coming up on Sunday, the sun is going to make a conjunct with Neptune, and I can't wait to talk to you more about that. It's going to really put the spotlight on our interface with the rest of humanity, and also how we interface with spirit, how we relate to spirit, and that's going to be an interesting conversation. And then coming up next Friday, we'll have that full moon in Virgo. We'll get from here to here, and then we can celebrate whatever it is that we have achieved and culminated over the past 2 weeks, month. Okay, so that is it for the aspects today. Thank you so much for being here with me today. If you have any thoughts, if anything comes up while you're looking at this, I would appreciate it if you leave me a comment down below. I love to hear from you, and I will respond. Also, since you're here, why don't you give me a thumbs up, like my video, subscribe to my channel. I post every day, so click that notification bell and you'll see it when it goes up, usually around 7 o'clock at night, sometimes a little bit later, the night before. And now I'm going to go ahead and switch to talking about tarot a little bit. Today is the last day for the Nine of Cups, guys, on the side of the page. This Nine of Cups is representative of Pisces, the sun's second 10 days of its transit through Pisces. So if that's complex sounding, it really is not. Pisces is associated with 3 separate 10-day periods, and those are all represented by a tarot card. There's a lot of overlap between tarot and astrology that I never even knew about before the last couple of years. So that's really fascinating to me. Nine of Cups represents the second 10 days of the sun's transit through Pisces, and this is about emotional satisfaction. And not necessarily, yes, striving toward emotional satisfaction, but also noticing where you have it, right? And when I say emotional, we're talking water element, we're talking cups, so that's emotions and intuitions. It is also our inspiration and our creativity, sort of the flow of creation through us, right? How we are inspired and we push out creations. So, I'm satisfied with the amount of inspiration I'm feeling. I'm satisfied with the creative work that I'm doing. I'm satisfied with the relationships that I have with myself and others. I'm satisfied that my intuition is working well, and I'm grateful for those things. It's important to be grateful because, our emotions and our intuitions and our inspiration, our creative power, these are big gifts, okay? These are things that, these are resources that we have that come from within. It's amazing. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and pull a card for today. First, I'm going to mix up my cards a little bit while I remind myself and the cards that the sun is in Pisces. And right now, Neptune and Jupiter, co-rulers of Pisces, are also sitting in Pisces. And also Mercury is. So we're talking about it. So, that represents expanded creativity, inspiration, connection to humanity and spirit, expanded thoughts, plans, expanded conversations. Yeah, very exciting stuff. And then the moon is in Gemini, makes a first quarter moon in Gemini this morning, and then moves into Cancer this afternoon. So first quarter moon is when we transition from planning to doing. And Gemini to Cancer is a transition from sort of playful creativeness to a more intensely internal and emotional mode, where it has to do with more with just our heart and our home. And we have Jupiter sextile Uranus over here saying, hey, we're expanding your opportunities. Just look for those positive changes and shifts that you can make. If you see a change that you can make for the better, do it. Do it right now. It's going to expand your experience, okay? And Venus in a conjunct relationship with Mars. This is about our partnerships. It's about our goals. We're having some pretty peaceful vibes right now because we just got done working really hard. There's more work to do, but we can sort of look up, take a breath, look around, see how much there is more to be done, and maybe enjoy in the context of our partnerships, company with other people as well. Sun square the moon today. That is that first quarter moon, and there's a little bit of perhaps outer life, inner life challenge. Then we've got some pretty good vibes on the moon side of the page today. That square with Neptune, it's really nothing to worry about. Sometimes I have that experience where I doubt another person's word, but then other times I'm just like really feeling the vibrations of people that are around me. So if you're one of those people who's sensitive to those vibes that really affect our emotions and our intuitions, look out for that. But also look out for this great 12, 13, 14-hour void of course here, where we can feel a little less emotionally attached than usual and a little less affected by the signs, and really get some good internal work done or some really good interpersonal work done. And with all of that said, I'm going to turn this card. Seven of Swords. Okay. Okay, so I like the Seven of Swords because it reminds us that sometimes we doubt another person's word because they haven't told us the truth entirely. And we all tell fibs from time to time. We have all deceived in one way or another, even by leaving information out. And that's what this is really about. It looks like this person is stealing, but it refers to the theft that I think it refers to the theft that is really like obfuscating information, not saying what's real, or even going further and saying something that isn't real, right? So we have our reasons for deceiving from time to time. We don't necessarily feel good about it. This person's pose to me doesn't look very, very good, but it also looks like, they're carrying off something that they think they have to, right? They're failing to share something that they think they have to keep from you, or if they lied, it was because they really thought that they were owed something, or they really thought that there was an imbalance and they had to do it. Okay, and that's not very emotionally satisfying. So I hope that if this is any of our energy, that we will, put these swords down and stand up straight and have an honest conversation. But it does put me also in mind of Mercury in Pisces, okay? Mercury in Pisces we become a little less articulate, a little less direct in our ability to communicate. And this is different for everybody because everybody has a different Mercury placement, and everybody has a different set of experiences and a different set of sort of astrological omens, okay? But Mercury in Pisces really doesn't really always know exactly what to say all the time right away. So sometimes when Mercury is in Pisces, we have to back away from situations like, yes, sure, I understand, and then give it a little thought before we get back into the conversation and say, okay, this is what I actually think. And so the Pisces communication, Mercury and Pisces communication can be somewhat indirect, and indirect is a nice way of saying passive aggressive, okay? Because so sometimes we sort of withhold information, to see if somebody catches on, right? So let's guard against being passive aggressive and really try to say what we mean at this time, even if it's difficult, or even if we have to take some time to think about it and then come back and talk about it. You really try to do that. Try not to withhold too much from the people around you, because it doesn't feel satisfying to lie, even if you thought that what you were doing was fair, or you were owed something, or that you had to keep something from somebody. It's a burden, okay? It's more work than is really necessary. And it's not what we're after right now, right? What we're doing right now is being creative and inspired and connected and appreciating what we have in terms of those emotional resources. This is thoughts and words and plans, this words, and somebody's just making off with some words that they probably should have let stand. So if you're in that dishonest state right now, I beg you to come clean and find the emotional satisfaction of being in a more honest, straightforward state with somebody. And no, it's not always comfortable, and sometimes it's embarrassing, but it's really better in the outcome if we just stand back up, put down our swords, our sharp-tongued words, and let those situations be at peace. Okay, and I think that's all I have to say about that today. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you all every day so much for being here. And my name is Mel Rose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today.